Good evening, guys. So this is a basic instruction beginner's guide towards being a free-to-play. Well, or should I say just being a free-to-play and player in general. Now, where do I begin? I'll begin at summons. Now, summoning is something everybody does once in a while, and in my book, it's quite tenacious. Especially for those who are free to play. Now, mind you, that being said, here goes some basic tips upon summoning. Now, when you first summon, you will receive, what's the word? Around 11 units. One being the final. Oh, sorry about this, I failed to mention. When you're doing, there is something that, what's the word? That does not appear on the global version versus the Japan version. Though when you go into 11 hero summons, it does not show that you have a guaranteed 5-star at first summon. So if you guys are free-to-play players, make sure you get this down. And, sorry, not just free-to-play players, but beginners as well. Make sure you get this down is that you also have a guaranteed chance to get a 5-star during your first summon only. Honestly, if you guys are very well aware of this, Reddit has been making this quite easy to understand. That just binge pull. Do one summon on each banner and that's it. Or should I say 150 times summon and or 11 times summon and that's it. Do not pull any more summons than necessary. Even if it's a unit you want, you gotta save those crystals for future banners because the more important banners come out in the future. So please be aware of that. And then there's also equipment banners, which are also important. And I gotta openly admit, there are very good equipments out there that will be coming out in the future. So especially if your equipment user is or if your equipment is a part of this. Now, I've been saying this multiple times in chat, is binge pull 100% of the time. And binge pulling will save up your crystals as well as keep you in a short supply of crystals every time you do a summon. Now, the reason why I suggest you binge pull is because it's important to always binge pull so that you have more crystals in the future, so you don't have to worry about having to constantly summon on one single banner, being unreliable towards you being unable to supply yourself with a free-to-play continuously. Now, each banner comes out from the beginning of the month to the middle of the month to the last ending of the month. Now, this is going to be a constant repetitive process that's going to keep happening in the future. No. It's actually the beginning of the month and the middle. I don't think there is no end at this point now. But binge pulling is very important, especially since, like I said, it provides you with crystals to use over time. Now, crystals is always something important in the game because you always need it. Now, for one reason I do say is, I would always binge pull on when doing a 50 summon pull only for units. I would only do one summon for that guaranteed. And a binge pull for this would just be 2 summons, and that's it. I would do more summons only if, as you could see, there's a guarantee 5-star equipment every time I do a summoning. Now, this is important to know about the details about this. There is no guarantee you will get equipment from regular summons when you're doing regular summons on regular equipment, such as this one over here. As you can see, you only get one time 50. I believe you only get one. That first 11 equipment summons guarantees 1 5-star. So this is why I'm trying to say it's important to make sure that if you ever get these kind of collabs or these kind of moments where we have guaranteed 5-star each summon, I suggest you do summon on them to around 1 to 2 times, and that's it. the least you should do. Now, another thing is beyond that about units. Now, I have been seeing this all quite frequently, and it's actually kind of gotten a little bit pesky. I've seen a lot of 78 races unlock. Now, mind you, that's not really a problem, but it has gotten too far into the point that people have started not noticing that even if your race is 78, make sure you hit that 80. Now, by hitting 80, all you have to do is complete the whole campaign through up to chapter 5. I don't see much of a problem there. Maybe if your summons wasn't that well, and you can't complete it within the time period, but I do suggest you try hard, guys. Just give it a good shot and give it your best shot. Don't always overexert. Don't always ever overthink. You may not have the luck units that most people have at this current point, but hey, Reyes is still by far the best bet you'll have at having an 80 luck unit. Now, with that being said, I'm openly admitting this. I don't really, well, personally, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you either have an 80 luck unit in my or in any other room, it's better to use that 80 luck versus other, how's to say, what would be the terminology? Sorry, there's no terminology. It's simple. As long as the leader is 120, that's all that really matters. The rest of the units does not matter, because as long as they're 80 luck on above for the rest of the units, there will be no significant change towards how much you will receive from the units in the back. There is no, oh, we're going to get 3 more each from each player if they have 120. No, that's not what happens. Only the leader will provide 4 luck, or 4 units on luck. Only the leader of the group. So if the leader does not have a 120 unit, then I would suggest being in that room. Or if you guys don't want to be in that room and they're just jerks, then yeah, that happens time to time too. But beyond that, that's also part of the beginner's guide, so make sure you guys do that. Make sure you get that 80 luck 80 radius, please, because as I said, it's like it's easy to acquire and it's not that difficult. Well, in not many sentences, it is quite difficult if you don't know how to defeat most of the bosses and if you don't have the great units. What am I saying? It's a pain in the butt. Now, as you can see, I have completed chapter 6 and 7 on my thing, but that's not important. What I'm trying to get at is that each of these locales, or from chapters 1 through 5, each have race luck units. All these race luck units all collide together to equal 80. So make sure you complete those challenges and get that 80 luck race, or you won't be in a room at all with me or any other player. Sorry. Another thing is to always make sure you're working on gathering some of the materials. That's kind of a given. And another important detail is to make sure you always are, how's to put it, there are also foods in the game that do not show up on the listing. That being said, if you guys ever look at your food creation over here, you'd notice there is something interesting. As you can see, my hot dogs over here on the right hand side have a strange symbol on them. Like, and you read over here, it says max. This means that I have maxed out whatever buff they acquire. So when I throw in the food with other party members who have max on their food, a special effect would occur. I'm not 100% certain, actually. I have not tested this at all, because, like I said, this is a rarity to be occurring. So, if you guys actually have completed or made over 100 of these foods, or used 100 of these foods, you will receive max luck upon it. Yes, I am not joking. that's in a group wise, not single. You have to make the food increase to increase its luck. So good luck on that one. Though I'm not 100% certain if even if they give you luck. I think this is just increases the production of the food. So as you can see, I'm getting regular success. And then if I were to do it again, if you see a rainbow pop out like that, great success. I get 2 of them. So that's another detail, though that's not really important. But it's still something you want to include in a basic beginner's guide. Now, another thing I want to get down is also to the boot camps. Boot camps are also important, so make sure you have that out there. Now, with what I said before with the Luck 80 radius, you could join any of these rooms without a problem. Now, I gotta admit, like I said before, there might be those rooms where the guys are jerks, and they don't consider you even trying being a player, being in that room. Now, you also might not have the food that they want you to have, but that's not to be unexpected, because some foods are probably event foods that aren't out there, or you guys have done re-rolls, and your re-rolls having collided with one of the previous events that people have food from. Now, a common thing to do instead of that is focus on foods that everybody does have, like the blue cheese, the red cheese, or all the cheeses that exist in the game that reduce damage from a certain elemental type, because all those always boost luck by an additional 20 points. That is why I say it is unimportant for you to have a unit only up to, like I said, 80 luck radius, best option you can have out there, especially if you have the 20 additional luck points in, and it wouldn't really matter. Like I said, only the leader is 120. If the leader is 120, that's all you really get from the extra boost. There will be no extra boosts from the other player party members, so you won't be getting 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 from if all your members are 120. It would not matter. They all have to have food in order to obtain 4, 2, 2, 2, 2. Because that's all there is. There's no 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. There's no 3 drop boost from each player. It's just 2. Sadly admitting, I gotta say, yes, that is actually true. It's not really that difficult to understand. But back to the point of the video. Alright, so like I said, another thing is also important to understand is that, like I said, you need luck 80 radiuses to join other people's rooms. And another thing is down to the keys. Keys are also important, so make sure you farm them from the events and you take them from them. Now, another important detail is also acquiring materials to enhance your units. For one, it would be going for the spirit of the exploring. Get bonus boost units. Now, bonus boost units do play a major role in your game. Surprisingly, they do. It's not a joke. I'm actually being serious about this. First of all, if you guys ever noticed, if you guys ever noticed, sorry about that, I was doing something. Boosting your unit stats is very important. Now, the only way to increase your unit stats to the highest amount would be actually to get the max limit broken. Max limit breaking is when you use limit break tokens or limit breaks. This is all part of the basic guide, sorry guys. I'm going to go into more details into everything else, so let's just get down to this one stage of the understanding. Instead of going on the long path of understanding, let's just get down to this basic of understanding how the max value works. Now, as you can see, I have over 17 limit break stones. Limit break stones actually enhance the units equipment capacity. So as you can see, he goes from, upon max limit breaking, his equipment goes from two 5 stars and 1 3-star. But that's at max limit breaking. Now as you can see up here, the values to his upgrades also have increased by a major percent or major point. So like I said before, it's very important to actually acquire, or very important to max limit break units that you have very useful uses for. The most common units that I would suggest to max limit break is actually units that are probably a part of beginner guides, or part of beginners. So one of them would be Mita. Another would be Roy. Another being at this point Satsuki, Ryoko, Mako. There's a lot of useful units that I have here that you could all have already. Kalaya, or Salaya, I do not know how they fix the pronunciation on that one. Zeorg, oh, I'm not gonna say Laise because Laise is just trash at this point. She's not really that good. Sorry to say this, but she does not bring in the cake. Another good unit would be, actually, who he will be obtaining an awakening soon, would be Ragna. As you can see, I have him at 90 luck, sadly. That's how many I've acquired of him. Though, with that being said, guys, like I said, max limit breaking and enhancing the unit stats are all important. It's not because they are increases their equipment, or not equipment, increases their equipment capacities, but also increases their stats, which is 100% important. Now, with that being also added to that, limit breaking also is interesting, as well as there has been a few changes to the mechanic of limit breaking. This change includes, how's to say, the enhancing and acquiring of alchemy stones. Alchemy stones are something very important, as well as I suggest for those who have alchemy stones, do not, or beginners, should I say, not beginners, but players in general, do not use your alchemy stones for summoning, please. I have to openly admit that the alchemy stones, you see this did not exist, or did not happen before. They were actually, it was just kill one time, but now they have mixed in the special limit time units like Roy, Mita, Est, and Kalaya, all of them. They recently added them in. This was not existent. I would have advised you to try it, but now that they added them in, there is literally no point in using your alchemy stones to perform a 10k summon. Now, the best option you can do with your alchemy stones is go to exchange. Exchange over here and use your alchemy stones to get, as I would suggest, limit break stones. Unit limit break stones are the most important ones you can get. Maybe limit break stones for equipment as well, but that's something else that you might want to focus on in the future. As since you're a free-to-play player, I would also just focus on units right now, because the most important part are units, 100%. Now, like I said, this is all part of the beginner's guide and my personal opinion of how you should start out. Now, to the next part of the video. So I got down limit break stones, unit enhancements, luck. Yes, luck was also part of this video, because like I said, the radius. And keys. Surprisingly enough, keys is also important. Now, equipment. Now, equipment is also a part of something important. But, like I said, this is probably the least valued thing that you might want to do. but it's still valued amongst all the things you have to do. Now, I shouldn't say luck, I should say equipment plays also an important role on your team, based upon what equipment you have and what equipment you can use. Now, with that being said, the best equipment you can get right now is, well, that all depends. It depends upon the situation. Like I said, it really all depends upon the situation you're in. I wouldn't always suggest equipment that would just do this, do that, do this, and do that. No. I would suggest going for equipment that works for the current situation. Never try to get equipment just because, oh, it looks cool. Oh, this guy said to get it. No. Not 100% of this is actually true. There are times where equipment could actually be handy. It all depends upon what function it serves in combat. Now, for one of those equipments would be Snippety Snips. Now, Snippety Snips is a little bit of, counterbalanced here. Now, for one is that it reduces enemies' physical resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. Oh, you could just read that. Why am I going to it? Now, if you read what it does, it's very important to make sure you memorize this detail. Memorizing the detail upon what it does is very important, especially for when you're trying to run a battle. So, using Snippety Snips in a combat situation where your units are all human and all physical damagers is very important. Especially since, like I said, they're physical damagers. It increases damage, and it's important for your own self. But, like I said, it's all situational. Like Guts here. Guts, being that his cooltime is very long, actually. He does not have 100 seconds cooltime. This is actually not true. This is true only after you max limit break him. His original time is 180. So be careful, guys. Don't fall for that. And try being aware of that. Sad, but so true. Some people actually also enjoy this one. Scissor Blades. And another one would be Bakuzan. Like I keep saying, it's all situation. It all depends upon how you use it and how you get it down and get it done with. Now, another thing about equipment is enhancing. Enhancing is also important, especially when you're using these equipments that you have. As you can see, I have a bunch of Fight Club Goku uniforms because, well, for one, I keep summoning them, and two, they're actually pretty good. Now, some people may believe that these Goku uniforms aren't that important, but actually, I don't think anybody has ever said that. But if somebody does, then you know it's a lie. First of all, Goku Uniforms has has the lowest cooldown time for a 5-star equipment that boosts your whole party's art gauge by 30 points. Surprisingly, it is actually 100% useful, especially if you have a unit with 5-star equipment slots. One said unit would be actually one I have her right now. Would be my friend over here. I just maxed her out due to one of the people on Reddit saying I should finish her up. Shady. Shady actually has an equipment she can equip 2 of them in her slotting after being max limit broken. Now, why do I suggest that you have this on your character at all times? Or should I just say, what am I saying? No. I do suggest you have this on her because like I said, Goku uniform increases arts by 30%. 30 points. And for each one, you can increase it by another 30 points. And the cool time actually goes up to 30 seconds. Now, with that being said, you could also reduce those cool times by using units that have a specific cooltime reduction. Like I said right here, her ability to increase Equipment cool time speed by 15% really comes in handy, especially when you're using it on gear like the Goku uniform. Now, I do openly admit each unit plays a perfect role for depending upon what equipment you have. Like I said, snippety snips. A perfect unit to put them on would be any physical damager that's human. Or if you have a physical damage team. It's very important to have that on there because if you use snippety snips on an opponent and then use your arts all at once, you're increasing your damage dealt by 20 additional percent. Now, this actually just affects the opponent, so it gives them a debuff and does not buff your team. Though it does buff your unit, the unit that uses it, but not the point. With that being said, it's actually brings a lot of damage to the table. So, what am I trying to get at here? Like I said, this is all basic guide. The basic would be to be said like this. Make sure you have a luck 80 unit. Doesn't matter who it is, as long as its base luck is 80, that's what's important. Make sure you have upgraded equipment to up to 10, and try upgrading it try limit breaking it a few of them, but don't focus on limit breaking them. Focus on upgrading your units mostly with either limit break stones or unit limit break stones, or using alchemy stones to purchase those limit break stones. Do not, and then here's another one, do not focus on trying to summon units from alchemy summon. Do at least, I wouldn't even say one, try once a month in the least. Why do I say that? Because it's hard to come across alchemy stones after in the future, and it becomes very difficult to even acquire them. And if you're a free-to-play player and a beginner, your main goal would not be to summon with alchemy stones. No. It's not really a good idea to even try to acquire that at all. Now, another thing is, upgrading your units. Upgrading your units is also just as important as everything else, as limit breaking your units. So you need that luck unit firstly. That's why I said it's one of your second objectives. So make sure your second objective is acquired by acquiring that luck 80 unit. You don't really need at this moment units that have upgraded skills. What you really need is to focus on summoning as well. That's enough. Oh, sorry, no, sorry, I said focusing. What you also need to do is memorize that summoning. When you're being a beginner and a free-to-play, you really need to control your summoning habits. That being said, most of my friends have been struggling to trying to get Mako and Ryoko and Satsuki at this point. I don't even know where to begin. But they're not beginners, they're future in players. But this, like I said, it's not advised to be doing what they're doing. Especially if you're a beginner or a player that has been playing this for a long time. Because, with that being said, you do have to be careful about your summoning habits. Another thing is equipment summons. Equipment summons, like I said, you should only perform 2 at a time. Well, not at a time. I would go give 2 every time you're able to get a 5-star guaranteed only. That is only if it's 5-star guaranteed. If it says 5-star guaranteed one time, just do 1 pull. Don't pull any more than that. It's very dangerous. It's also a waste of time and a waste of your crystals. So, this has been your friend and the person who's trying to help out the most, Leonard. I do hope you guys comment, ask me questions, and don't get confused on this video. If you guys get confused, just leave a message. Leave a message on the comment section, and I'll get to you right away. Thank you for always watching, and I hope you have fun.